Now today we are going to continue with this model of the theory of consumer behavior. Last week we said the economics, microeconomics, or the, in macroeconomics are full of models, full of theories, models. We said the model is like a street map. It's a good approximation to the actual situation, reality. So it is not 100% accurate, but it's a 90%, 99% accurate. It's an approximation to reality. Theory of consumer behavior also we try to build up a model which is close to, very close to the actual behavior of a consumer. What is the objective for consumption? We said utility maximization. Person want to get the maximum satisfaction, maximum utility. Then we ask the question. Second part of this model is are there any market constraint, restrictions, barriers? Yes. Income is limited for a given period. Prices, we are talking about the free enterprise economy system. No, prices you can't control. Prices are determined by the market force. Prices, another constraint. Income constraint. In other words, budget constraint is there. Then we stated the consumers in this theory, in this model, consumers try to maximize utility subject to budget. That is the one sentence of consumer behavior. Consumers try to maximize utility subject to budget. Theory of firms try to maximize profit subject to cost. Like that, a large number of models. Then it is said there are two approaches, marginal approach and the indifference curve approach. Last week we finished the marginal approach. Marginal approach, what are the key concepts? Total utility, marginal utility. Total utility, marginal utility. Again, marginal analysis assumes utility can be measured. Cardinal measure of utility. Satisfaction can be measured. Indifference curve, they said utility cannot be measured. No way. You can't assign numbers. When you eat 3 chocolates, you can't say I got 100 utils, 100 satisfaction units. No. But consumer can rank different utilities, different consumption bundles according to this preference. I prefer A is preferred to B is preferred to A, oranges preferred to apple, apple prefers to banana, like that. Ordinal measure of utility. You rank, you don't assign numbers. Then in the marginal approach, we discuss total utility and marginal utility. Total satisfaction, utility of the last unit, marginal satisfaction, marginal utility. Then we discuss define total utility and marginal utility. Then we have charts. Total utility versus quantity. First, the top graph. Then above graph, what will happen? Total utility, when person increase the consumption, utility increases, total satisfaction increases, attain the maximum and then decrease. This is true for any consumption of any good. Chocolates, oranges, rice, drinks, some drinks. This is true. You attain maximum. 100 oranges or 200 oranges, you come to the maximum. But then it diminishes, falls, decreases. Marginal utility, on the other hand, it is the utility of the last unit, last kilogram, last orange. When quantity increases, first orange, very high utility. Second orange, slightly less. Third orange, slightly less. Fourth orange, slightly less. Marginal utility eventually diminishes. I said the eventual term is very important. It might increase initially little bit, but eventually diminishes. This behavior of this utility, marginal utility curve, shape of the marginal utility curve is explained by a very important law in economics. Law in economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility. The law of diminishing marginal utility. Law of diminishing marginal. This is true for consumption of any good, any service, any action of the human behavior, humans. You attend this class. Now, at this point, maybe marginal utility of this 15 minutes is very high. Second 15 minutes, slightly less. Third 15 minutes, slightly less. It diminishes. Fourth, fifth, sixth, sometimes you fall asleep. Right? If I continue after that, your marginal utility will be negative. Right? This is true for the consumption of any good or service. This is a fundamental law in economics. Very important fundamental law in economics, the law of diminishing marginal utility. Right. Then we discuss objective to maximize utility. You have the budget constraint. Then how does the consumer allocate this limited income between goods? Between goods. Now in this model, we assume there are only two goods, two good economy. Prices known, income known, consumption known, marginal utility known, can be calculated. Then this is the condition. At the utility maximizing bundle, marginal utility per rupee MUX or PX equals MUY or PY. I think I discussed this question. I wanted you to understand and work out this again. The utility maximizing combination, how to calculate utility maximizing combination of X and Y. You have MUX, you calculate MUX or PX. You have MUY, you calculate MUY over PY. Then you check these newly calculated columns. You go where MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. Corresponding combination of XY is the utility maximizing bundle. In other words, that utility maximizing bundle, at that utility maximizing bundle, MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. As you can remember last this example, 10 and 10. 10 and 10, you get corresponding X and Y. Right. Then indifference curve analysis. Second approach. Today's discussion subject. What is indifference curve analysis? We argue, we say that consumer is not in a position to assign numbers for his satisfaction, level of his satisfaction, utility. But he can rank different bundles. Working at Vellavatta branch and working at Peta branch. I prefer working at Vellavatta branch to Peta branch. Why is that? I am getting more utility from working at Vellavatta branch than the working at Peta branch. Or sometimes you can say Peta branch is much better than Vellavatta. What does that mean? You are getting more utility, more satisfaction when you are working at Peta than Vellavatta. Third possible answer is I am indifferent. I don't mind. You have a choice. You don't mind. That means same satisfaction, same utility. That like that in the indifference curve analysis, consumer rank different bundles, different situations, different the bundles of services or the goods. Indifference curve analysis to consumer behavior. Now in this model, we have three stages. First stage, we talk about consumer preference. Preference means another name for this one, consumer's taste, satisfaction, utility. We model consumer's utility, preferences, likes and dislikes. Second stage, we discuss, we will model, draw the budget line. Budget constraint is there. Third stage, the decision. What is the decision? How does the consumer maximize utility subject to budget? So in this theory, we have three steps, three sections. First, we discuss consumer's taste, preference, utility in detail. What is taste? What are the assumptions of consumer's taste? Second stage, we discuss budget constraint. It can be represented using a budget line. Third stage, you combine these two, A and B, and decide the utility maximizing bundle. At C, you combine A and B, sections A and B, and give the decision. Right. Now, first stage, consumer preferences. When you say consumer preference, you can just understand it is a consumer's taste, is utility, satisfaction. What are the characteristics of consumers' utility, preferences? Whatever the name is slightly different, but understand it's a preference, taste, utility. What are the characteristics of consumers' taste? Pre-assumption about consumers' taste. 3 assumptions. Now remember these assumptions, they are very much close to the consumer's behavior. In layman's, in normal behavior, we all behave like this. Although they are expressed as assumptions, it's a normal behavior. Assumption 1, completeness. What is completeness? What's your preference? Given any 2 situations, given any 2 bundles, consumer should be able to rank, give his preference to these bundles. Given any 2 bundles of goods A and B, consumer should be able to rank or order the 2 bundles into one of the following sets based on his preference. He can say, I prefer A to B. A is preferred to B. A greater than B. Oranges greater than apple. That means I prefer oranges to apple. Bundle A, other possibilities, equally preferred. I don't mind oranges, apples. I don't mind. I don't have any special preference for this one. Third possible answer of this consumer is B is preferred to A. I prefer oranges to apple. This is the assumption of completeness. Is how the consumer can give one of these answers. He can say, I don't mind, I am indifferent. Or he can say, the same person, same consumer can say, I prefer A to B. Or same person can be said, B is preferred to A, like that. Okay. Right. So the attending this online lecture, my lecture, online the economics lecture. Or second, the let's say situation is watching the closing ceremony of, today is not the closing ceremony of Olympic, Tokyo. 2 situations. When I ask one of you to classify, this you can say, individual can say, I prefer to attend online classes or watching the Tokyo Olympic. Or same persons can say, I prefer Olympic to online class. Or you can say, I don't mind attending online class or the watching Tokyo Olympic is same. I'm not interested. I'm same like that. This is the assumption number 1, completeness. Given any 2 months, if we say, for example, if I ask you to, okay, I want you to answer, attending this class, online class, this time from the 10:30 to 12:30. This is one situation. Second situation, taking a flight to Tokyo, same time, taking a flight to Tokyo. Let's say Katunagi is open now, open, yes. Taking a flight to Tokyo or attending this online class. Can one of you answer me? What do you bet? What do you prefer? What do you prefer? Going to Tokyo or attending online class? What do you prefer? One of you? One of you. Now we have 3 possibilities. One of you attending this class or going to Tokyo. Yes? Tell me, what is your answer? One of you? It doesn't matter. You have 3 possibilities. What do you think? Truly, actual behavior. What do you think? What do you prefer? A is preferred to B, B is preferred to A, and B indifferent. Going to Tokyo or attending this class. Answer me. Answer me, because I just want to show that another important point depending on your answer. Tell me, what is your answer? Yes? Girls, what is your answer? What do you think? Going to Tokyo, taking a flight to Tokyo, or attending online class? What do you prefer? Tell me. Hello? Any answer? Doesn't matter. At the beginning, I said you should talk. Tell me, what is the answer? What is your answer? Hello? One of you? Answer.
Attend online class.
Yeah? Attending online class. Okay. Right. Good. So you prefer attending online class to going to Tokyo. Good answer. Suppose you said, now this is the point, important point. Suppose you say, oh, they are so different. Attending online class, going to Tokyo, very funny. I don't know. I can't answer that question, sir's question. I can't answer that question. How do you compare that? I don't know. I don't know the answer. If you say so, your preference is not complete. Understand the point? If you say, sir, I can't answer that question, sir, I don't know how to compare these things. If that is your answer, your preferences is not complete. That's why given any two situations, you should be able to, consumer should be able to rank. Should be able to rank. I don't mind going to Tokyo and attending the online class, or it should be, say, as you said, attending online class better than going to Tokyo, or going to Tokyo better than online. If you say, I don't know, oh, they are so different, I don't know. In that case, you violate this assumption. In my tutorial, I have given that situation, right? Quiz. Understand completely this, what is the meaning of completeness. Given any two situations, any two bundle, you should be able to rank. Consumer should be able to rank. Okay, second one. Transitivity. Consumer's preference should satisfy the axiom or assumption of transitivity. What is transitivity? Now, in this case, you take three bundles. A, B, C. Three situations. A, B, C. Three situations. Suppose, let's say oranges, apples, and bananas. Apples. Let's say apples, the bananas, oranges, apples, and bananas. Three. So oranges and apple. Consumer thinks, I prefer A to B, oranges to apple. Then you ask him, what about the banana and apple, oranges and apple? B is preferred to C. A is preferred to B. Good A is preferred to good B. Good B is preferred to good C. That is his answer. Between A and B, if he asks, he said, oh, I prefer A to B. Working at Vallavath branch, I prefer Vallavath branch to PETA. Then what about PETA and the Nitambur? I prefer PETA to Nitambur. Like that. B is preferred to C. Then, obviously, this should imply between A and C without asking. Without answering this question, we should imply A is preferred to C. A is preferred to C. A is preferred to B. B is preferred to C. These are his answers. Then A should be preferred to C. He can't say, no, I am C is preferred to A. No, in that case, that is wrong. A is greater than B. B is greater than C. B is preferred to C. Therefore, if you ask consumer between A and C, his answer should be A greater than C. Understand this? He can't say C greater than A or A and C indifferent. You are his preferences, A greater than B, B greater than C. Therefore, definitely he should prefer A to C. No other answer. This is called consistency. Consumer's preference should be consistent. If you prefer apple to oranges, oranges to banana, then apple should be preferred to banana. He can't say banana preferred to apple. Because his behavior, first two situations, his behavior is apples, oranges, oranges preferred to banana. Therefore, apple should be preferred to banana. No other answer. That is called, his consumer state should be consistent. Consistency, assumption of consistency, transitivity. Or If we say, if answer second situation, if we say A and B, I am indifferent. I don't mind. Equally like. B and C, equally like. This sign indicates equally sign. Not greater than, no less than. No. This sign indicate equal. A and B equally preferred. Same utility. B and C, same satisfaction, equally preferred. Then between A and C, indifferent, equally preferred, equally preferred. If A and B indifferent, B and C indifferent, that means equally preferred. He can't say, I prefer A to C. Then the preference is not consistent. If we say A is preferred to C, if apples and oranges equally preferred, oranges and banana equally preferred, then apples and banana should be equally preferred. Right? You can't say any other answer. Oranges prefer to apples and apple prefer to banana. No, that's wrong. In that case, it is not consistent. Consistency. Assumption of consistency. Understand this thing? A is preferred to C, B is preferred to C should imply A is preferred to C. If A and B indifferent, B and C indifferent, therefore A should be equally preferred to C. A and C indifferent. He can't say A preferred to C. That is called axiom of transitivity. Another question is there in my quiz to understand this transitivity assumption. Third one. Consistency. Completeness is, first one is, given any situation, consumer should be able to give his preference, ranking. Second one is, given any three situation, his preference should be consistent. Third one, non-satiation. Assumption 3 is non-satiation. Consumers cannot be satisfied. In a free enterprise economy system, consumers always prefers more to less. More is preferred to less. More is preferred to less. If you are getting 10,000. And okay, sorry, excuse me. All right. Oh. Oh. මගේ එකනේ මම මේලමෙන්ට කියන්න ඕන අගෝස්තු 15 දැන්ස් ඊට කලින් එක්සෑම් ඇප්ලිකේෂන්ස් දාන්න අගෝස්තු 15 විභාග කවද්ද අගෝස්තු 15ට කලින් ඇප්ලයි කරන්න ඒක රෙජිස්ටර් වෙන්න කියලා ඇප්ලයි කරන්න හරි මම කියන්නේ ඔක්තෝබර් 20 ගණන් වල වගේ තමයි එක්සෑම් එක රයිට් ඕකේ හරි hello there's an important assumptions this Mr. Kavindra wanted me to convey that you all have to apply for the examinations before August 15. This month, 15, another 1 week's time, of course, no, little more than that, yes. Before August 15, you have to apply for the examination. Application should be sent, right? That's an assumption, an announcement. If you need more clarification, please ask Kavindra. Right. Third assumption is more is always preferred to less. This is the normal behavior of a consumer in an economy, free enterprise economy system. You want more. If your monthly income is 50,000, you are not happy. You want 60,000. You are getting 60,000. You want more. You want more. And some textbooks say this is assumption of greediness. Consumers are greedy. They always prefer more to less. More is preferred to less. More is preferred to less. Greediness. Consumers are greedy. Now in Buddhism, I don't know how many of you are Buddhist. Buddhism, I am a Buddhist. Sorry about I have no idea about other religions, so I can tell you. In Buddhism, there is a concept called tanha, greediness, greed, tanha. So tanha, it's like similar to that one, greed, tanha, right? Then again Buddhism say now in this case more is preferred to less. In economics it is more is preferred to less. Consumers behavior more or less. Always you want more. You earn more. Right? When you are getting more, you are happy. You are getting 50,000 to 60,000. 60,000 you are getting more utility. From 60,000 to 70,000 you are getting more utility. More and more income means you are more happy. That's why this assumption says more is preferred to less. Consumers, that is normal behavior of a consumer. More is preferred to less. Right? Right? But in Buddhism, it is something else. Tanhaya jayati soko. But in economics, tanhaya jayati santutti. Greed results happiness. But Buddhism, greed results sorrow. Right? But at the end, if the marginal utility of greed is also diminishing, at the end, greed always results sorrow. Anyway, in economics, more is preferred to less. These are the three assumptions. Assumption of completeness, assumption of transitivity, assumption of the non-satiation. More is preferred to less. More is preferred to less. More is preferred to less. Right? Okay. Now these are the key assumption of indifference curve analysis. The assumption. I'll go to this my quiz. Of course, then you can have some idea about this. Quiz number 4. State the three assumptions of consumer preferences. You have to state. First one is completeness. Consumer preference should be complete. Consumers, second assumption is transitivity. Third assumption is more is preferred to less, non-satiation. State the law of diminishing marginal utility. Right. C and D. Please read C and D and give me the answer. Give me the answer. C and D. So now you can answer that question because you know the assumptions. Sarat said, I just can't decide whether I would take a vacation in Spain or attend 2015 batch party to be held at Galadari. True situation. He said he can't decide. Which of the three assumptions of consumer preference is violated by this statement? Explain. Number 1. Which of the three assumptions of consumer preference is violated by this assumption? What is the answer? Tell me. Completeness, transitivity, more is preferred to less. Which assumption is violated? What is completeness? Given any two situations, consumer should be able to rank, give his preference. Transitivity, given any three situations, more is preferred to less. Third one. What is this? Which assumption is violated? Explain. Which assumption is violated? Completeness, transitivity, more is preferred to less. Which assumption is violated? Hello? Tell me.
Completeness.
Completeness. Why is that? Tell me. Oh, you are right. Why is that? Why is that? How do you say so? You are right. Why do you say so? Yeah. He says, Sarat said, I just can't decide. He can't say so. He should be able to rank. That is the completeness assumption. Going to vacation, going to Spain, or going to batch party, he should be give ranking. He can't say they are so different, I can't decide. No. Therefore, completeness assumption is violated. That not satisfied. That assumption is violated. Right? Understand? Now, this is a good point to understand. D. Pranita said that she prefers treasury bill to fixed deposit. TB greater than FD. TB greater than FD. treasury bill to fixed deposit. And fixed deposit to company share, FD greater than company share, CS. Pranita said she prefers treasury bill to fixed deposit. How according to our notation, how do you write? TB greater than FD. And fixed deposit is preferred to company shares. FD preferred to CS. Then all of a sudden he says, but she is indifferent between treasury bill and company shares. First he said treasury bill preferred to FD. FD preferred to company shares, CS. Between treasury bills and company shares, he says, I am indifferent. That's wrong. Right? If we prefer treasury bill to FD, FD preferred to company share, definitely treasury bill should be preferred to company share, no? If you say I am indifferent, is this behavior consistent with the assumption of consumer behavior? No. Transitive assumption is violated. Understand? I can write this on the board. Wait a minute. Now, these are the answers. Pranita said, Pranita's this thing. TB referred to FD. Then you ask FD and company share. FD preferred to company share. These are the answers. If her preferences taste consistent, this should imply what? TB should be greater than company share. TB greater than FD, FD greater than CS. Therefore, these two, TB greater than CS. This is the correct one. Then, her preference is transitive. Satisfy transitive assumption. But all of a sudden, she said, TB is indifferent between CS. This is wrong. Understand? This is wrong. That means transitivity assumption is violated. Transitivity assumption is violated. Transitivity assumption is violated. Understand? That is the answer. In a minute, I just want to go to. Right. Pranita said that she prefers treasury bill to fixed deposit. If fixed deposit is preferred to company share, but she is indifferent between treasury bills and company shares. Is this behavior consistent with the assumption of consumer behavior? No. If not, why? Now we explain. Understand? Understand transitive assumption. TB preferred to FD, FD preferred to CS. Therefore, definitely, if it is consistent, TB should be preferred to CS. This girl says she is indifferent. No. Understand? That is these are the three assumptions. Now we discuss about the consumer's nature of assumption of consumer's preference. Completeness, transitivity, and more is preferred to less. Now another concept relating to preferences. Indifference curve, important concept. Indifference curve is a curve. The locus of all different bundles. Now here also we assume two goods, X and Y. You can select, you can ask consumer indifferent bundles. Bundle A, 3 and 4. Bundle B, 4 and 3. bundle B 8 and 1. Like that, you ask him to, okay, give you a preference. A is preferred to B, B is preferred to C, C is preferred to A. You select indifferent sets, indifferent bundles. He might say A and B indifferent. Again, C and D indifferent. Again, he might say B and C indifferent. So, the three possibilities are there. No? You get from him asking questions, you get indifferent bundles. X and Y, X, Y. It is a graph that represents all indifferent combination of goods which each yield the consumer the same total utility. Indifferent means you are getting same utility, same satisfaction. Working at Pallavatta, working at Peta, I'm indifferent. That means you are getting same utility, same satisfaction. Right? Okay. Now, this is the indifference curve. Indifference curve. Now, this curve, let's say below this curve, there are two curves. No, lower curve. Lower curve, X and Y, U0 100. What does that mean? All combination of X and Y, maybe 1 and 10, let's say 3 and 5, then let's say 5 and 7, 5 and 2, these bundles, you have joined these points and get this 100. Or each bundle gives him total utility 100 because you are indifferent. Bundle A, bundle B, bundle C. 100 means each bundle gives consumer same utility, same satisfaction. You are indifferent. Indifferent bundle. So therefore, what is indifference curve? Indifference curve is curve of indifferent bundles. Same utility bundle. Constant utility bundle. To take these three bundles, each bundle gives him 100, 100, 100. 200 utility curve. All these bundles along this curve gives him same utility, same 200 utility, same 200 satisfaction. All these bundles XY. Understand? Indifference curve is what? It is a graph that represents all indifferent combinations of goods. There are two goods, X and Y, which each yield the consumer the same total utility, same satisfaction, same utility, total utility. Indifference curve. Very important concept, indifference curve. Generally, it is convex to the origin. Indifference curves are convex to the origin, generally. It could be concave or it could be straight line. But generally, it is, there is a reason, convex to the utility. Properties of indifference curves. IC. ICs do not intersect, do not cut. Do not cut, they are parallel. Do not cut, do not intersect. They are negatively sloped. Negatively sloped. Higher the IC, higher the utility. You can see this. Higher the IC, U0 to 200 level, 200 to 300 level, 300 to 400 level. If you move lower indifference curve to high indifference curve, utility increases. Utility increases. Very far away, maybe utility could be there's another set of bundles that you consume 1,000. Each gives 1,000 utility. So consumer's objective is to attain the maximum possible indifference curve. He doesn't want to stop at 200 or 300 or 400, but he wants to attain maximum possible, maximum indifference curve. Remember, that is the objective of consumer. Maximize the utility. There are constraints, but you want to attain the maximum, get a maximum combination, XY. Give the maximum utility. They are negative. They are higher the IC, higher the utility. They are convex to the origin. This is a convex shape. Remember, production possibility frontier is concave to the origin. Convex. This is convex shape. Origin is there, convex. Production possibility frontier, other way around. Generally. Indifference curve analysis, consumer preferences. Now I have given the A, B, C, D, E, different bundles. All these bundles, two goods. What are the two goods? Chocolate and lemonade glasses, bars of chocolate and glasses of lemonade. Bundle A, you have 11 bars, 1 lemonade glass, 1 glass. Bundle B, 7 bars of chocolate, 2 glasses of lemonade. 4 chocolate, 3 lemonade. 2 chocolate, 4 lemonade. 1 bar of chocolate, 1 bar, and 5 chocolate, 5 lemonade. These are A, B, C, D, E. These bundles, different bundles. At the same time, assume they are indifferent. Bundle A and B indifferent, B and C indifferent, C and D indifferent, D and E indifferent. What does that mean? All these bundles give him same utility, same total utility. Now, if you plot all these bundles in one graph, lemonade x-axis 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Y-axis chocolate. You can mark. If you plot these 1 and 11, 2 and 7, 3 and 4, 4 and 2, 5 and 1, and join this, you get a curve. You get a curve. This curve is not there. I can plot this curve. So these are the indifference curve analysis. You can, these are indifferent bundles, right? 11 and 1. I'll talk this. You can plot this indifference curve. Okay, plot the indifference curve. Plot this curve. Take this question. Get the lemonade along the x-axis. Lemonade, glasses of lemonade. Get the bars of chocolate along the y-axis and plot all these bundles. 1, 11, 2, 7, 3, 4, 4, 2, 5, 1, and join. Can you do that? I'll give 5 minutes. And get the curve. That curve is all these indifferent bundles. They get same utility. Indifferent bundles. Let's assume. Can you plot the curve? Plot the curve. Plot the curve. I'll give 5 minutes. Plot the curve. To plot the curve, I also get down this one. Can you plot this curve? Now these are the bundles. Chocolate and lemonade. Chocolate and lemonade. You want to do. These are indifferent bundles. What does that mean? A and B, B and C, C and D, D and E, indifferent. A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E. Indifferent means you are getting the same utility. Working at Vallavatta branch, working at Peta branch. Same utility, same satisfaction. You are indifferent. To draw the indifference curve, you get indifferent bundles. Not the preferred bundles. A is preferred to B or B is preferred to, not the preferred bundle. Indifference curves are drawn using indifferent bundles. Now I can plot this. Lemonade, glasses of lemonade. Here it is bars of chocolate. Bars of chocolate. 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chocolate. 1, 11. 1 to 11. Let's see. Bars of chocolate. Now you plot this. 1 and 11. 1, 11. 1, 11 is here. 1 and 11. 2 and 7. 2, 7. 2, 7. Then 4, 3. 3, 4. 3, 4. 3 and 4. 3, 4. Then 4, 2. 4, 2. 4, 2. Then you have 1, 5. 1, 5. 5, 1. 4, 2. Then you have 3, 4. Then you have 2, 7, 1, 11. You join this curve. This is the indifference curve. I see indifference curve. If this bundle, bundle A, bundle B, 2 and 7, bundle B, bundle C, 3 and 4, bundle D, bundle E, you can see the circle. If this bundle, 1 lemonade and 11 chocolate, gives, let's say, 2000 utils satisfaction, 7 and 2, 2000 satisfaction, 4 and 3, 2000, 2 and 4, same utility, total utility, same 2000, 1 and 5, same total utility. Therefore, it is what is the indifference curve? Indifference curve is a combination of two goods that gives him same total utility. Total utility. We have drawn this indifference curve. Indifference curve, right? Indifference curve is drawn. Any question? Please ask me. Right. Now we have drawn the indifference curve analysis, consumer preference. 5 points. Each bundle gives him same satisfaction. We don't know satisfaction. In the marginal analysis, consumer assign numbers 1 and 11, 100. 2 and 7, 100. 4 and 3, 100. We don't know his utility level, but we know they are equally preferred bundles, same satisfaction. We don't assign numbers. Right? Okay. Then slope of an indifference curve. Slope of the indifference curve, this formula is not that good. Formula should be delta y over delta x, mu x over mu y. It's very bad. I'll write it here. Proper formula is this. Please take down this. Slope is MRS equals Please take down this formula. Because there some typo is there. Marginal rate of substitution. Slope of an indifference curve is delta y divided by delta x equals marginal utility of x divided by marginal utility of y. Mux over Mu1. Mux over Mu1. Now let's discuss. This is the slope of an indifference curve. Slope of an indifference. What does that mean? Slope of an indifference curve. Suppose consumer is here. Initially consumer is here. He has 1 lemonade, 11 chocolates. Right? Then we ask him, okay, if you all move from A to B, that means we will give you 1 lemonade, 1 more lemonade, 1 to 2, 1 more lemonade. How many units of chocolate you are going to give up? Because when you move from A to B, your lemonade increases, but chocolate cut down. 11 to 7, chocolate cut down. So, movement from A to B, consumer to get 1 more unit of lemonade is willing to give up 4 units of chocolate. 4 chocolates. 4 chocolates. It is 4, 1. Therefore, slope is delta y over delta x is 4 divided by 1. That is 4. Of course, minus. Then you are B at B. Then we ask the question, second question. If you will give you 1 more unit of the lemonade, how many units of chocolate you are going to give up? 7 to 4, 3. You are going to delta y over delta x, but 3 divided by 1. 3. Then you add C. C to D. 1 more unit of lemonade. So 2 to 4, 2. Delta y over delta x is 2 divided by 1. That is 2. This is the A to B, B to C, C to D. D to E is delta y over delta x. This is 1. 1 over 1. 1. Now you can see slope of the indifference curve diminishes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Slope diminishes. That's why it is convex. Slope diminishes. You increase each one by lemonade, but you initially he is willing to give up 4 chocolate to get 1 more unit of lemonade. At B, he is willing to give up only 3 to get 1 lemonade. At C, he is willing to give up 2 to get 1. At D, you have more chocolate now. You are willing to say give up only 1 to get 1 chocolate. MRS is called marginal rate of substitution. Between X and Y, 2 goods. What is MRS and X and Y? Consumers' willingness to substitute good Y for good X when he move along the same indifference curve. A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. A to B, he is willing to give up 4 chocolates to get 1 lemonade. B to C, only 3 chocolates to get, yes. B to C, 3. 3 to get 1. C to D, 2. D to E, 1. Marginal rate of substitution is a consumer's willingness to substitute good Y for good 1. Good Y to good X. Good Y to good X. Initially, you are very happy. You have more chocolate, but you have only 1 lemonade. To get 1 more lemonade, you are willing to go up 4 chocolate. Then you are little richer. Second point, you are willing to go up 3 lemonade to get 1. 2 lemonade, when you are getting more and more chocolate, your willingness to substitute chocolate diminishes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Why is that? When you are getting more and more chocolate, your marginal utility of chocolate diminishes. The law of diminishing marginal utility. You have 11, you have 7, you have 4, like that, it diminishes. Therefore, your willingness also diminishes. MRS diminishes along an indifference curve. MRS diminishes. 4, 3, 2, 1. Why is that? Because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. His willingness also diminishes. When you are getting more and more chocolate, marginal utility of chocolate decreases. Then your willingness also decreases. So if the question asks, why this indifference curve is convex to the origin? Why the MRS diminishes along the indifference curve? Reason is law of diminishing marginal utility. When you are getting more and more chocolate, your marginal utility of chocolate diminishes. Therefore, your willingness to give up chocolate also diminishes. That is the reason, right? Okay, we'll go to the lesson. Right. Please remember this, change this formula. I have written the correct formula. Some misalignment is there. Formula. Marginal rate of substitution. Draw the indifference curve taking glasses of lemonade along x-axis and chocolate of bars along y. I have answered this question. Y-axis. Estimate MRS between A and B. A and B. MRS is 4. B and C. MRS 3. C and D. MRS 2. D and E. MRS 1. I have answered this question. Draw the indifference curve. We drew the indifference curve. Then we calculated marginal rate of substitution between these two groups. Right? Think about that. Right. Sorry? Ask me.
If we change the axis, so then the curve is different, no?
Change axis. Good question. No. Same thing. Same way the B and C. Actually this then in that case, what will happen? You can do that. Good question. In that case, what will happen? This is BC. Here the glasses of lemonade. Now here I have put that because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is easier to calculate the slope. But if you change that, what will happen? Good question. Okay, can you draw that? That's good. Okay, taking exercise. Taking the this is bars of chocolate along this and lemonade y-axis. Can you draw that one? Please do that. In that case, you have to get 1 to 11 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like that, 12. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like that. Can you plot that? I'll give you 5 minutes. What will happen? 11 and 7. 1 and 11. 1 and 11 is here. Can you see the board? Yes, I will go. Can you see the board? Can you all see the board? Huh?
Yes,
Can
sir.
you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 1 and 11, then the 7 and 2. Now here is 7. 7. 7 and 2. 7 and 2. Then you have the 4 and 3. 4 and 3. Then you have 1 and 5. Same thing. Then MRS, in that case, MRS will be like this. MRS will, you are right. MRS will be different. MRS will be different, but in that case, we say MRS between BC and GL. Earlier we said MRS, we said GL and BC. GL and BC. In this case, to get 1 glass of lemonade, how many units of BC he is willing to give up? According to this MRS, to get 1 bar of chocolate, how many units of glasses he is willing to give up? Good question, but the shapes won't change. Won't change. MRS will be different, but in that case, MRS between X and Y, between Y and X, like that. Even though it diminishes, your willingness to substitute good Y for good X diminishes because of law of diminishing marginal utility. Now, this theory point should be understood. You should very clearly understand. You should understand. All these mathematical curves are there. Is mathematics, not economics, right? We just try to understand, link these mathematical curves, slopes into normal consumer behavior. MRS diminishes mathematically. 4, 3, 2, 1. When we give economics blend to it, what is economics of that? Consumers' willingness to substitute the good X for good Y, good Y for good X for good Y. Consumers' willingness diminishes. Why? Because of the law of diminishing marginal utility. So, these curves are just mathematical. Anybody can, if you are familiar with these curves, plotting this curve, you can. But economic rationale is different. Economic explanation is must. Using these curves, always you try to link this mathematical concept into economics. That's very important. Because this lesson is a bit mathematical, but it is interesting. Very interesting. Mathematics, direct link between mathematics and mathematical curves and the economic concept. Right? Better understand that.
So this
yeah.
In the exams, will they give what is x-axis and what is y-axis, and then
in the exam,
MRS?
In the examination, they usually, in all the questions, they ask you to taking the glasses of lemonade along the x-axis and bars of chocolate along the y-axis, draw the indifference curve. They define, right? No worry that. Don't worry about that, right? Then you can define that. Usually, most of the exam, they give X and Y axis, they give and ask you to plot. If we give a question to draw I can remember 2016 or 15, you got a question to draw the indifference curve. But in that case, in that question, they have given that they have given this X and Y. No, don't worry. Then you can plot the curve. Don't worry. Right. Good question. Now we have discussed drawing the indifference curve is important. Then what is the slope of the indifference curve? Marginality of substitution calculation is important. Definition is it is the slave ratio of marginal utility of X and marginal utility of Y, delta Y over delta X, change in Y over change in X, change in Y, change in X, change in Y, change in X. It can be proved it is equal to marginal utility of x over marginal utility of y by taking the total differential. It can be proved mathematically, but at this level, we don't use that mathematical calculation. Yes, can we do that? Right. Slope of an indifference curve, actually same thing we have discussed so many times. Slope of an indifference curve is defined as the marginal rate of substitution. It shows the rate at which consumer is willing to substitute good y for good x to keep him on the same indifference curve, enjoying the same total utility. Same indifference curve. A to B. Same total satisfaction. You are on the same indifference curve. B to C. Along the same indifference curve. Same satisfaction. If MRS is 4, okay. What does that mean? If MRS is 4, the consumer is willing to substitute 4 units of y to get 1 more unit of x. B to C, it is 3. Then consumer is willing to give up 3 units of y to get 1 unit of x. C to D, 2. Consumer is willing to give up 2 units of y to get 1 unit of x. Like that. MRS is an individual specific concept. That is very important. Underline that. The consumer's willingness to substitute good x for good y is an individual concept. It has nothing to do with your constraint, market condition. Purely depend on your preference, your preferences, your likes and dislikes, right? So it is individual specific concept. How much you are willing to give up one good for the other? Is it? Depending on your preference. If you don't like some good very much, you are willing to give up more of that good, get to another good of that is very valuable to you, important to you, right? Like that, it is consumer's preference. Right. Now, different shapes of indifference curves. Indifference curves generally convex to the origin. It's a curve. It's a curve. Higher the indifference curve, higher the utility. Higher the indifference curve, higher the utility. But there are some deviations, exceptions. Sometimes indifference curve can be straight line. Or sometimes it will be a right angle. Right? Straight line. Downward sloping straight line. Suppose these two goods, x and y, are perfect substitutes. Now the question is perfect substitutes. X and y could be substitutes, perfect substitute. Give me examples. Okay. Example for perfect substitutes. Tell me. Example of perfect substitute. Perfect substitute, indifference curve, straight line. Can you tell me perfect substitute, two goods that are perfect substitutes? Tell me. What are the perfect substitute goods? Hello? Girls? Actually, you don't talk. One boy is always talking. Perfect example for perfect substitutes. Give me. What is an example? Perfect substitutes, two goods, perfect substitutes. Yes? Tell me. Yes? Anybody? Perfect substitutes? Substitutes, perfect substitutes. What is? Example? Tell me. Two goods, perfect substitutes. Tell me. Yes? Tell me. Perfect substitutes. Tea and coffee substitutes. Are they perfect substitutes? Then what are the perfect substitutes? Tell me. Perfect substitutes. Perfect substitute. Tell me. Perfect substitutes. Two goods. Tea and coffee substitutes. Service of a commercial bank, service of a national bank, substitute services. No problem. Agreed. Perfect substitutes. If the two goods are perfect substitutes, indifference curve, IC, is a downward straight line. They are not convex. Perfect substitute, I'll give you some textbook examples. For a colorblind consumer. Who is a colorblind consumer? Colorblind consumer, which is a very rare disease. Actually, there are people who has a colorblind. Colorblind means you can't differentiate the colors, blue and red and green. He cannot differentiate the colors. Blue pen, red pins, blue pins and red pins. He cannot differentiate. He can see only one color. Right? It's a problem. The genetical issue. Colorblind consumer. When you give him red pens or blue pens, he can't differentiate. If you are a colorblind student, he cannot do chemistry. With the chemistry, you know, one of the very important the concept called the practical the problem is there the titration. When you identify that reaction is completed, the color change. When color change, you think you stop that, dropping one liquid to another liquid. So when these are mixing, initially it is blue. The moment the color change blue to the pink, you stop. Titration is completed. So only by observing these things, initially people do this titration. If you are a colorblind consumer, he cannot do this. He cannot differentiate the color change. He cannot do chemistry. This happens long time ago. One of our students in the university. So one of my friends, he cannot do a titration. We all can see the color change, but he himself cannot change the color change. Then he complained. When the doctors investigate his this position, they say he's colorblind. Then he changed the course from chemistry to physics or some other subject. Right? You cannot do. You can observe this the color change. For a colorblind consumer, if you give a blue pen or red pen, he can't differentiate. Let's assume you give red blue pins, 10 red blue pins, 10 red 10 blue pens and 10 red pens to him. Then you ask him, okay, please, I will give you one blue pen. How many red pens you are given to give me? He has no idea. He will give me 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. Slope of this indifference curve constant, substitutability constant, MRS constant. Why is that? He doesn't have any special preference to color. When I give 3, he will give 2. When I give 6, he will give 4. When I give 9, he will give the 12, like that. Some fixed ratio, slope is constant. In this case, earlier one, when it is convex, slope diminishes. Your substitutability diminishes. But in this case, what will happen? Substitutability, your willingness to substitute x for y is constant. You don't have special preference to x and y. So the one shape is indifference curve is set of straight lines for the perfect substitute. But two goods are perfect substitutes. It's a straight line.
So this I have questions.
Sorry.
So this is brown sugar and white sugar.
Sorry.
Brown sugar and white sugar. Can they be
brown sugar and the
white sugar?
White sugar, brown sugar and white sugar.
The utility changes, no, sir. The utility changes, the satisfaction you get changes.
Yeah, satisfaction changes, right? But the thing is here, in that case, it's a good point. White sugar and the brown sugar, still the if I don't like white sugar, because at home we take brown sugar more, we consume. So my preference is for brown sugar. I don't like the white sugar that much. Then what will happen? Your substitutability might also change. To get 1 brown sugar kilo, I might, if I have more the white sugar, I'll give more white sugar to get one brown sugar. More white sugar. It depends on your preference, taste. This perfect substitute case, you cannot differentiate. You don't have special preference to this red pen and blue pen. But this case, white sugar and the brown sugar, you have some special preference for due to health reasons. So special preference, then your substitutability might change. That's the reason. Good question. Yeah, somebody, if for you, if you don't mind taking white sugar or the brown sugar, then it is perfect substitute. In my case, I prefer more to have brown sugar. Then my substitutability might be changing, convex. Your case, if you don't prefer, if you don't mind, if you have no special preference to brown sugar and white sugar, your indifference curve straight line. That's why I said it's an individual specific concept. Individual specific. For some, you get the convex. See, steep convex. Straight line means the perfect substitute. Yeah, consumer, in your case, it can be said, I don't mind. I don't have any special preference. 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, like that. Substitutability constant. You are right. That's why I say it's a good question. It's an individual specific concept. For me, they are not perfect substitutes. For you, they are perfect substitutes. Another person, perfect substitute. And the consumer, it is not perfect. If it is not perfect substitutes, you don't get a straight line. Right? It's a perfect substitute. So the colorblind case is it's a very interesting, but it's a example for one of the textbooks discuss perfect substitutes, right? Otherwise, still for another consumer, example, good example, brown sugar, white sugar. If you don't have special preference, if I give 1 brown sugar, you might give 1 white sugar, 2, 2, 3, 3. Then slope is constant, right? Good question. Yes, it's an individual specific concept. Now we come to this X and Y perfect complements. Generally, indifference curve convex to the origin. Perfect substitutes, two goods, straight line. Now, if they are perfect complements, tea and coffee, tea and sugar complements, tea and milk complements, tires and tubes complements, right? X and Y. But in this case, perfect complements. Perfect complements. What is perfect complements? Example, perfect complements. Example, perfect complement. What do you think? Perfect complement. Perfect complement. Perfect complements. Yes. Sorry, I'm checking someone. I'm expecting a message from my bank. Of the bank, one of my friends is giving. So the perfect complement. Example is perfect complements. Right shoe and the left shoe. Right shoe and the left shoe. Right glove and the left glove. Right shoe and the left shoe. You need 1 right shoe, 1 left shoe, or 2 right shoes, 2 left shoes, 3 right shoes, 3 left shoes, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Right? If you have 1 and 3, 1 right shoe, 3 left shoes, no use. 2 right shoes, 10 left shoes, no use. 1 to 1. Only 1, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. This is the shape of the indifference curve for this the perfect complement. This corner point is the point. Corner point is the consumption bundle. Other things, utility constant. 1 right shoe and the 1 right shoe. This is right shoe. Let's say y-axis right shoe and left shoe x-axis. 1 right shoe and 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 left shoes, no use. Utility constant. Yeah, one left shoe and 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10 left shoes, right shoes, no use. Utility constant. The only thing is consumer change consumption is corner points. Corner points. Corner point. For example, the tea and sugar. Now, in sometimes some restaurants or sometimes you visit some friend's place, they ask how many sugar. Tea, how many sugar? Then sometimes you might say 1 or half, 2. Then 1 cup, 1 sugar, or 1 cup, 2 sugar. Like that. Another consumer, 1 cup, 2.5, 1.5 sugar. So always according to fixed ratio. Fixed ratio, they are changing. 2 cups, maybe 3 sugar. 3 cups, 4.5 sugar. Like that. Fixed ratios are going that is perfect complements. Perfect complements, right shoe, left shoe. X is right shoe, left shoe. Or right glove, left glove. 1 right glove and 10 left gloves, no use. 1 to 1 only. Perfect complement. You need both. They are complement. ICs are right angles. Consumption bundle changes from this corner point. Right. We discuss generally indifference curve convex to the origin. Generally. There are some exceptions. If the two goods are perfect substitutes, they are downward sloping straight line. If the two goods are perfect complements, they are straight line. Right? But we are going to discuss general case, convex indifference curve. Now the budget constraint. Now we are going to move to the second stage. Remember, we have 2 stages, no, 3 stages, no. 3 stages. Consumer preferences. We discussed what is consumer preference, assumption of consumer preference or the taste, completeness, transitivity, more is preferred to less. Then we discuss indifference curve. Indifference curve is the constant utility curve. Constant utility curve. Bundles that show same utility. Then we discuss MRS, slope of the indifference curve. Slope. Then we discuss the different shapes of the indifference curves. Straight line indifference curve, right angle indifference curve, convex indifference curves. Right? Now the second stage. What the consumer can do. Earlier, what the consumer wants to do. Consumer wants to attain the maximum indifference curve. 100, 200, 300, 400 bundles that give the maximum total utility. What the consumer can do, but you are constrained. You have so many limitations. Budget, income is fixed. Prices you cannot control. Therefore, budget constraint. Now we'll discuss stage 2, budget constraint. Budget constraint. Indifference curve analysis, second stage. Budget constraint. Budget constraint. Right? Let's assume 2 goods. 2 goods. 2 goods. Consumer's income is 50. Let's assume consumer's income is 50. 50 rupees or $50. 2 goods, X and Y. Now he spent this is 50 rupees to buy, entire 50 rupees he spent to buy different combination of X and Y. Prices are given 5 and 10. 5 and 10. Now these are the quantities. Quantity 0 and 5. 2 and 4. 4 and 3. Bundles. 6X and 2Y. 8X and 1Y. 10X and 0Y. If you spend all your income 50 to buy 5 units of Y, 0X, spending is 5 into 10, 50. Another combination, 2X, 4Y. 2X is 10. 5 into 2, 10. 4 into 2, 40. 40 plus 10 is 50. This should be, sorry, yeah, 40, correct, 40, right? 40. 2X is 10. 2 and 2 into 5 is 10. 4 and 10 is 40. 40 plus 10 is 50. His income is 50. Then 4X is 20. 4 into 5, no, price is 5, no. If you want 4 units of X, you have to spend 20. 3 of Y is 3 into 10 is 30. Price is 10 or 30. 30 plus 20, 50. Like that, different combination of X and Y. Spending on X and Y, spending on X, spending on Y. If you add these two, spending total income 50. Total is 50. 0 plus 50, 10 plus 40, 20 plus 30, 30 plus 20. Like that, these are different combination of X and Y that utilize the entire budget 50, entire income 50. If you spend 0, 5, total 50. 2 and 4 combination, total 50. 4 and 3 combination, total 50. 6 and 2 combination, total 50. So what is the budget constraint? Combination of X, Y that utilizes entire budget. Budget constraint. What is the budget constraint? Is the constraint that consumer faces as a result of limited income. Your income cannot change. We all have a limited budget. We cannot control market prices. Our income is, in the short run, it is constant. If you are working, at least for 1 year period, it is constant. Next year, you might get some increments or the allowances, depending on performances. Your boss might recommend you high allowance, then your salary might increase. Might be increased, right? But until such time, you are getting same salary. Sometimes cost of living might be changing. That is the constant faces as a result of limited income. Budget line. Now we are going to do the budget line. Budget line shows all combination of goods for which the total amount of money spent is equal to income. Spending on X, spending on Y equals income. You have 50 rupees. Spending on X is what? Price into X. Spending on Y, price Y into Y. Total spending, PXX plus PYY. If you buy X units at PX, PXX, spending on X. If you buy Y units at PY, spending is PYY. Total spending is PXX plus PYY. Should be equal to income, 50, 50. Right? We have this now. If you buy 0 and 5 or 2 and 4, 4 and 3, if you multiply it by prices, you get 50. Total spending 50. Total spending equal total income. You get 50 rupees. You spend all 50 to buy these two goods. Different combination maybe. So you are a highly contented person. You are getting 50,000. Spend all 50,000 to buy goods and services. No savings, no borrowings. That is another assumption of this model. When you say equal, you don't borrow money. You don't save money. Income equals spending. 50,000 income, 50,000 spending. Different combination of goods. Right? That is highly unrealistic. Now, in the real world situation, you get income, you save something. Sometimes you get some income, you don't have enough income, your income is not enough, you borrow income. But in this model, we assume ancient time, our rural people, they are very scared of getting loans, right? Giving loans or getting loans. They highly contented. You get 50,000, whatever you get, you spend. No savings, no borrowings. If income greater than spending, could be spending greater than income. You have different models, intertemporal analysis. There are different models in economics, microeconomics, but we don't go to that point in intertemporal analysis. We decide this only no savings, no borrowing situation. Income equal total spending. Now combine X and Y, different combination of goods, X and Y. It's a straight line, straight line. Straight line. Budget line, this is called the budget line. X and Y, budget line. Different combination of X and Y. 0 and 5, 2 and 3, 4 and 3 and 4, 6 and 5. You mark all these points and join this the line that is called budget line. With the given income, you can afford all these bundles inside this. You cannot go outside because your income is not enough. You can buy any of these combination on or inside this area. Feasible set. This is called a feasible set. Any combination on the budget line or inside the budget line. But outside the budget line, you cannot. Your income is not enough. If you are getting higher income, budget line shifts. This is the budget line. You have the indifference curve, budget line. Higher the indifference curve, higher the utility. Now, consumer wants to attain the maximum indifference curve. But because of the budget line, you cannot go some point beyond this point. Budget line. Slope of the budget line is Px over Py. Now third stage, utility maximization. You have the budget line, you have the indifference curve. Indifference curve, your likes and dislikes. Explain likes and dislikes of the consumer. Combination of X, Y that give the same utility to the consumer. Then budget line explain combination of X, Y that utilizes budget. Same budget, all the income. Then what will happen? Tangency point is the utility maximizing point. X star and Y star is called the utility maximizing combination of X and Y. You cannot attain high indifference curve because your income is not enough. You can come the low indifference curve, but then you are not spending all your income. At this point, you spend all your income, you attain the maximum utility curve, indifference curve. You cannot go to the high indifference curve because your income is not enough. You can come to the low indifference curve, you can, but in that case, you don't spend all your income. This is the optimal point, utility maximizing point. Utility maximizing combination, X star and Y star is the tangent point. Indifference curve, then indifference curve and the budget line, tangent. Just touch. Slopes of the indifference curve and the budget line, same. Slope of the indifference curve and the budget line, same. At the tangency point. Utility maximizing combination, X star and Y star. Utility maximizing condition, slope of the IC indifference curve equal slope of BL, budget line. Lots of typos, I don't know. This is, yeah, not check this. MRS is the slope of the indifference curve. Slope of the budget line, Px over Py. Px, this line should come here, Px over Py. MUX or MUY divided by, I'll change all these things. Now, these are the formulas. I'll just draw these formulas. Please take that. I'll write it and again come to this. MRS. Now you can see now this is the change. Slope of the IC equals slope of the budget line. Go to the board. MRS slope of the indifference curve is marginal rate of substitution between two goods XY. Slope of the budget line, I said it is equal to PX over PY. Ratio of prices 5 and 10, 5 and 10, PX over PY. MRS, MUX over MUY, marginal rate of substitution. At the beginning, I gave you ratio of marginal utilities. Slope of the budget line PX over PY. Then you can interchange these two. PX comes here, MUY, you can bring that there. So MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. This is the final formula. Sorry, this my presentation, lots of all these lines were not aligned. Now this is the case, right? MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. Slope of the indifference curve equals slope of the budget line. At that point, utility is maximized. Right. At that point, utility is maximized. What is that point? What is that point? Tangency point. At this tangency point, combination X star, combination Y star maximizes, gives the maximum utility. This is the maximum indifference curve that consumer can attain with the given budget. Maximum combination. This is the maximum. This is called X star and Y star is called utility maximizing bundle of X and Y. At that combination, X indifference curve and the budget line just touch tangent. At this tangent point, what will happen? This is the condition. Slope of the indifference curve equals slope of the budget line. At the end, you can say MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. That is similar to this marginal analysis. Marginal analysis, remember the case? Marginal utility MUX divided by PX equals MUY over PY. Utility maximizing point. Same condition. We have the same condition. Tangency condition. It can be proved same condition. Right. So at the utility maximizing point, MUX over PX equal MUY over PY, or the slopes are same. Right. I will summarize what we have discussed so far. We discussed 3 stages. In this indifference curve analysis, we have first we model the consumer's taste, preference. Then we model the budget constraint, budget line. Then we discuss utility maximizing point, tangency point, where 2 curves tangent. We discuss consumer's taste, 3 assumptions: completeness, transitivity, non-satiation. Then we discuss the indifference curve, another important concept. Bundle of same utility, bundles of X and Y, same utility. Consumer wants to attain the maximum indifference curve. Maximum, not 200 or 300, 400 like that. But he has constraint. He has constraint budget. Budget constraint is there. Budget constraint is there. Your budget is limited. Income is limited. Prices given. So you can't go certain point beyond that point. Then what will happen? This is the maximum point you can go. Indifference curve and the budget cost. Indifference curve shows consumers' likes and dislikes. Budget constraint, budget line shows his market constraint. He cannot go beyond the budget line. Given the income, given the prices, this is the maximum you can go, maximum combination he can consume. So you come to the maximum indifference curve. That is the maximum point. At the tangency point, slope of the indifference curve is equal to slope of the budget line. They are same. They are same. Then what will happen? We derive the condition MUX over PX equals MUY over PY. Now this theory is now completed. Indifference curve analysis theory completed. But theory is important if you cannot explain some actual behavior of a consumer. Theory is not important. Theory without application is meaningless. That is a very important thing. You can have indifference curve, you know the budget line, you know the tangency point, you know the condition. But theory without application is the meaningless. Now these are the application of this indifference curve model. We can derive price consumption curve using this indifference curve analysis. Indifference curve budget line analysis. You can derive the PCC. Again, you can using indifference curve budget line analysis, you can derive the income consumption curve. Second application. Again, you can derive the demand curve for a good using the indifference curve analysis. Derive the demand curve. Then you can derive a very important concept called a total effect, income effect, and substitution effect. I will explain that. Last policy application is what is better, cash income or income in kind. For example, this policy question, giving 5,000 rupees to a poor family, cash income, or giving equivalent amount of let's say 5,000, you can buy 50 kilograms of rice. 50 kilograms of rice, let's say 5,000. 50 kilograms of rice to the poor family, or you give equivalent amount of money, 5,000 rupees to the poor family. Understand? Cash income, income in kind. Income in kind means you give 50 kilograms of rice, 50 kilograms of rice. Now these days it is 100 rupees per kilo, it is 5,000. You need 5,000, 50 kilograms. So income in kind, give 50 kilograms of rice to the family or 5,000 rupees to the family. Which is better? Giving cash, giving rice. What is better? What is better? Giving cash or giving rice to the poor family? What is better? What do you think? What is better? Giving cash income or giving the kind income? What is better? As a policy, as an economist, what do you think? What do you prefer? Cash income or income in kind?
Cash.
Sorry?
Cash.
Sorry? Yes?
Cash.
Cash. You are right. Cash income is better. Why that? Cash, when you give cash income, depending on consumers, this poor household, they are the preferences, taste. They will allocate this income. They might buy not 50 kilograms of rice. They might buy 10 kilograms of rice. Another you might spend to buy clothing. You have the freedom. As long as consumer sovereignty, freedom is there, that policy is better. The policy that enhances consumers' freedom is the best policy. That is the argument. If you give cash income, it's up to you. Right? For example, when you come to if in the physical class, let's say we have the physical class, in the morning, your father gives you the 200 rupees cash. Or father gives you some coupon. Okay, you can buy a lunch packet from the canteen. Income in kind. It is better. Definitely you prefer 200 rupees than this coupon. Right? People prefer cash income. Now this concept can be, this can be proved using our indifference curve budget line framework. Cash income is better than income in kind. Can be proved. So therefore, the economist, as an economist, government should not give income in kind, give cash income. Government should don't give fertilizer at a subsidized price at some kilograms, give money to the farmer. Farm will decide. That is the best policy. So these are the 5 applications of the indifference curve analysis: deriving price consumption curve, deriving income consumption curve, deriving income consumption curve, deriving the demand curve, and deriving, disaggregating total effect into 2 components: income effect and the substitution effect. I'll explain that. Then illustrate cash income is better than income in kind. Giving cash is better than giving equivalent amount of the income in kind. Giving 50 kilograms of rice to a poor family is not advisable, but giving 5,000 rupees to a poor family is better. Better policy. Can be proved. All these 5 policies can be proved using our basic indifference curve, the budget line framework. Okay. From this, we'll stop. Next week, I will discuss all these 5 policies in detail. In the examination, they ask these questions, right? What is total effect? What is income effect? But before that, because today we don't have time, but today I will give the very quickly, we'll summarize us what we discussed today, not only in this model. We discuss in this theory of consumer behavior, we try to build up a model. Describe a consumer, how does a consumer behave, allocate his income in order to buy goods, 2 goods, X and Y. Then we have 2 approaches: marginal analysis and indifference curve analysis. Marginal analysis assume utility can be measured, ordinal measure of utility. Indifference curve analysis assume utility cannot be measured, ordinal measure of utility. Ranking. Marginal analysis, we discuss the law of diminishing marginal utility, total utility and the marginal utility. These are the 2 shapes of the curves, 2 curves, shapes of the 2 curves. This was one of the questions in the 2015 paper. Yes, you are given some numbers, you are asked to draw the total utility curve and the marginal utility curve. Actually, I have given that, this one. This is from the, not the past paper. Past paper question is different, TU and MU curves. Then we discuss law of diminishing marginal utility. Marginal utility, not the total utility, marginal utility eventually diminishes. Then we discuss utility maximizing condition and the combination. We discuss one example. Then the indifference curve analysis, 3 stages. First, we discuss properties, assumptions of consumer's taste. Then we discuss market constraint, budget constraint. Then we combine these 2 and derive the utility maximizing combination. Consumer's taste, 3 assumptions: completeness, transitivity, non-satiation. Then from that, we derive the indifference curve. Then we discuss properties of the indifference curve. They do not intersect, negatively slope, higher the indifference curve, higher the utility, convex to the origin. Then we draw, actually using this example, we drew the indifference curve. MRS. Then slope of the indifference curve, then the budget line. Different shapes, straight line, right angle, different shapes, depending on the 2 goods. The 2 goods are perfect substitutes, straight line, indifference curves. If they are perfect complement, right angle curve. Generally, convex to the origin. Generally, indifference curve. And the budget constraint. Budget constraint, straight line, budget line. Budget line is a budget line. Third stage, combine these 2 and derive the utility maximizing combination of X and Y, X star and Y star. Right. Next week, I will first step, I will discuss, derive all these curves in detail. After that, I will go to this quiz. Quiz is I want you to go through this quiz at home. Then quiz number 4, please go through. And this depending on the budget constraint and the all thing is the theory of consumer behavior. This covers all these 5 questions covers the theory of consumer behavior. Please go through and prepare for this one. We'll discuss this quiz and the other sections, right? Okay, we'll stop now. This section is not that difficult, but little bit mathematical. You have to have some idea about mathematics. But remember, mathematics, this is the we are not going to discuss the mathematics. Mathematics helps us to understand the economic concept, right? We don't want to discuss maths. Maths, you know, but economics, linking maths to understand the economic concept better, we need maths, right? Okay, please go through this quiz also. Next week I'll do that. Right. Thank you. I'll stop now. I'll stop little early, 5 minutes early. Yes, right. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, the Saturday. And remember, for the examination, please apply for the exams before August 15th of August, right? If you need more clarification, please speak to Kavindra. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks. We'll see you. See you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.